Aw, animals.
Americans rescued after being lost at sea for 5 months. 2 Americans lost at sea for 5 months in the Pacific were rescued by the U.S. Navy after being spotted by a Taiwanese fishing boat. Jennifer Appel and Tasha Fuiaba left Hawaii for Tahiti this spring with their 2 dogs, but their engine failed on May 30th during a storm. The pair continued on, hoping to reach land by sail. They began issuing daily distress calls for 2 months, but were too far out to be heard by anyone. On Tuesday, a Taiwanese fishing boat spotted the pair 900 miles southeast of Japan and contacted the U.S. Coast Guard in Guam. The USS Ashland arrived the next morning to pick the women and their pooches up. Appel and Fuiaba were able to survive because they had water purifiers and more than a year's worth of food on board. Sheesh, these 2 had more food on their boat than most Americans have at home. Here are some more other rescue stories.
Felix the cat uses up one of her 9 lives. A London dock worker is being hailed a hero after he saved a cat from drowning in the River Thames. This surveillance footage of the incident was posted to Facebook by London's Royal Docks on Monday. It shows the dock's engineering and operations manager, Scott Durbin, leaping into action after Felix fell into the drink. Felix got an unexpected bath when she was fighting with another cat, and things got out of hand. But Scott Durbin wasn't about to let the Royal London Docks official office cat drown. Faster than a speeding bullet, Durbin ran to the water's edge and grabbed the little kitty by her neck before she sunk to the bottom of the river. We're not sure if cats are good swimmers, but Durbin wasn't taking any chances. Felix the cat was doing fine on Tuesday. A spokesman for the dock said he was happy to report that the kitty experienced no injury or trauma. However, Felix may have suffered a little wounded pride. The spokesman said everyone in the office had been laughing behind Felix's back about her blasé, nothing to see here routine that followed her dunking. Oh, this family will have a fabulous story to tell. A woman who went into labor on Sunday as floodwaters from Hurricane Harvey surrounded her apartment was saved, thanks to a human chain of neighbors and firefighters. Soon-to-be parents, Dr. Andrea and Greg Smith, were trapped inside their apartment by Hurricane Harvey, and during that time, Andrea went into labor. Unable to get help from outside the apartment complex, the Smiths realized they had no option but to prepare for a home birth. The Smiths' neighbors, who are also medical professionals, showed up with medical equipment and supplies after someone called for help. Word traveled until eventually someone whose father lived across from a fire station was able to tell firefighters about the Smiths' situation. As water levels continued to rise, the group decided to move the delivery process to the 2nd floor of the apartment complex. When a large garbage truck was spotted outside, Greg ran out in the rain to ask for help, and that's when, to his amazement, he was told the vehicle was actually there for him and his wife. People quickly clasped hands and formed a human chain to help the laboring Andrea through the waist-high water and into the truck. After settling down in the hospital, the couple were given dry clothes and a real delivery room for Andrea to give birth. And at 1:59 a.m. on Monday, the couple's firstborn, Adriel, was born. The volunteers' brave act was captured by neighbors who lived in the same apartment complex the Smiths live in. And that footage has since gone viral across Facebook and Twitter. Faith in humanity restored. This poor kitten in China got trapped behind a glass wall without food and water and was slowly dying. But luckily, a good Samaritan came to the rescue. Earlier this month, the cat somehow became stuck behind the wall in a building in the southwestern city of Chengdu. After a period reported to be 3 days, a karaoke receptionist saw the kitten. He looked around but realized there were no gaps available for him to pull the little guy out. So the receptionist called the building's property management office to ask for help. Building staff knew the glass wall was built between aluminum door frames and a load-bearing wall, so they dug out a tunnel to rescue the kitten. After the successful rescue, the receptionist decided to take the tired and hungry cat home and adopt it. However, despite the good news, we're still wondering exactly how did the kitten get trapped in the first place, and why it took 3 days for anyone to notice. Let us know in the comments if you got any bright ideas about that. help sign on the beach saves 3 castaways. What would I do if this were a movie isn't usually the best course of action. Blasting in your eyes in the middle of the night will probably get you arrested, not into her panties. Don't get the reference? Watch the classics, you Philistines! Anyway, good news! Writing the word help in huge letters in the sand is now officially a movie cliche that works. 3 friends set off from the island of Pulap in the Federated States of Micronesia on April 4th, but a few hours later were hurled into the sea after strong waves capsized their boat. They swam through the dark ocean before finally making it to the uninhabited Fandandik Island, about 4 miles from Pulap. As hours turned to days, the men were reported missing and the U.S. Coast Guard responded to requests for assistance. Now, the Pacific Ocean is kind of big, and even if you do make it to some tiny speck of land, as Tom Hanks and Wilson proved, finding you can still be very tricky. Luckily, however, going into movie mode worked for these 3 unidentified castaways who used palm leaves to spell out "help" on the beach. The men waved their life jackets as they stood near the word, and success! A U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon aircraft spotted the sign, and the men were rescued less than 4 days into their ordeal. So do write "help" in great big huge letters on the beach, but we recommend waiting as long as possible before eating any of your fellow castaways. Any professional survivalists out there? Tell us what other movie tips are good ideas and which ones are straight up dumb. Who knows? You might save a life or two.